Essaywriter.org supplied this topic, and it shocked me because this helped me realize that something that I consider very basic, I take for granted. It even reawakens my eighth grade social studies class memories when we started talking a little bit more in depth about what it meant to be illiterate, say, when it came to your opportunity to vote, going to school, and how that wasn't accessible for everybody, and how even as relatively recently as the late 1800s, early 1900s, it was normal for people who are part of my socioeconomic status, which is I'm freaking poor, to be illiterate. And when I think about how I go through my life, through my day, with the ability to read and write, my life would have been very different than what I'm accustomed to now. I became aware of the question of should elementary schools continue to teach handwriting. And even when I was in school, in high school, I remember having to write an essay in which I was defending the importance of handwriting. And I made it all about me because by that time I was already writing. I described how I keep a journal and the impact it has on my mind, on my memory, even my self-esteem, because I observed that my classmates who would walk into my English class, and at the beginning of every class we had an assignment on the board with a topic that our teacher had designated, talking about this is today's topic. You have 10 minutes to write a paper on your thoughts about this. And people would struggle. They couldn't think, anything like that. Whereas my struggle was 10 minutes were not enough for me to express myself, everything I wanted to say. And sometimes I would suffer on some assignments because I had a lot to say, but there was a limit of 1 page. And I can tell you this, the physical sensation, act of me writing things, the sound that I make, the smell of ink or even pencil, and the way that I was creating something on a piece of paper, that did something for me. It just did something to me. I was a completely different animal. It was like I had ultra instinct thinking abilities, and I just enjoyed how I could take a piece of paper and make it have meaning, make it have power, because my words had impact. My words could do something. Say, at work, sometimes I don't have time to call my supervisor or verbally tell them that I need money added to my till. So I will take a piece of receipt paper and I will write down the denominations I need. I will write 1Q and maybe something like 1Q. They know that's quarters. Or I will write the number 10 with an S next to it. That means I need tens. And then out of courtesy, I will write down which register number I'm at so that they don't get confused, even though I'm right there, you see me, but just in case, for the purposes of creating the mental memory of where a change order went to, then I feel like the more information I give you, the better. And something about that, I feel like it's empowering, because at a moment when I couldn't attract their attention and express myself using words verbally like normal, I was able to pull out a piece of paper, write something on it, and that led me to getting something. Me handing it to them and for them to review it when they had the chance, it resulted in me getting what I wanted, which was the change. Writing has power. Writing has influence. And when I hear how we seem to be going back to those times when people cannot inherently write, I feel sadness, genuine sadness, because again, I know how far my ability to write has gotten me. And it's not just pushing letters and numbers that I recognize on a screen. Because I know how to write, I know how to type things on my phone. If I didn't know how to write beforehand, my reading ability, comprehension, and spelling ability would definitely suffer. A lot of the vocabulary I learned it because I remember what color ink I used back when I was in school to write it. I created a photographic memory type of thing. And the words that I have not gotten to write down that I have learned, I feel like I learned because I had to pull out my phone and type them. But I have observed that words I run into as an adult that I don't know the meaning of, once I look up the definition, my ability to retain it is not the same. Whereas the words that I have gone back to my good old days of this week, I found 5 words I had never heard before. Let me write them down and study them like I used to. When I do that, I remember it better. And sometimes my retention ability is so bad that I will consult a friend I have who is a really good writer. And I'm like, brother, I need your help at helping me understand the meaning of this word. How can I remember it? What can you tell me to make it easy, to make it likely for me to remember what it means? Because for the life of me, I just cannot figure it out. He'll tell me something, and I guess the memory of me reading his message, telling me the hint, makes it better for me. But once again, handwriting, I think, is something that should be a given. It's inherent because at some point, you may not be able to depend on your phone. Your phone may die, you may lose it, you may break it, something may happen to it. And you're telling me that your life has to be over because you're not handwriting anymore? Computers, they go down all the fucking time. And I rejoice when that happens because people are forced to come up with a solution in the interim to keep stuff going without technological intervention. And it takes me back to when I thought the world was just simple and better and people were not as fucking distracted or dumbasses, really. Sometimes I feel like having a meaningful conversation with someone is difficult because the way that they sound now, it sounds like internet talk. And that disappoints me because I'm like, who are you as a human being? All you are is a collection of what I heard on so-and-so podcast, what I saw on so-and-so video, what I read on Twitter, what I saw on the comment section of blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what is yours? What is your personal experience, your personal original anecdote, your authentic self and thoughts? Where are they? Do you even have those? And that is incredibly sad to me. And it's frustrating because I remember, again, a time in which conversing with someone actually took you somewhere. With them, not them talking about others. It was, you got to know this person, I guess, more intimately. That thing that I was talking about the other day that I'm like, when I feel down, I don't feel down because I'm just inherently miserable. I feel down because I'm lacking intimacy. That's it. It's that simple. Handwriting is, in a sense, your own signature, your autobiographical work, and no one can imitate that. Not even yourself. No matter how many times you try to sign your name, it'll look slightly different every single time. And I have done this for myself. I'm like, no, I can make an exact replica of my signature. And you just can't. To see that something like your handwriting, which is considered kind of a fail-safe, to be on the decline, to be getting lost, for there to be a question or an argument about whether this is a necessary skill now because we got computers now. Therefore, it's not necessary for you to be crafty with your hands anymore. I'm like, what's so crafty about this or this? Like that repetitive motion, and to the point that people are developing issues with their hands and even neck problems from staring down at a screen so much. That's what you're proud of? Really? That is what you feel like should kill your ability to handwrite, your ability to have a personality, because you instead want to have a digital version of it? You instead appreciate more tapping a piece of glass over having to go out there, get supplies, get materials, get your paper, your pencil, your pens, your tape, materials, using external things to create something. But now everything is within your phone. Therefore, you don't have to go out and you don't have to consider what pencil to get, which pen to get, which this is an art, and you're taking a shortcut with it. You are killing it. And somehow I'm supposed to be impressed by the things that AI or computers or people with computers can make. No, that'll never impress me. I'll be more impressed by the person who takes the time to gather their supplies, because I know how time consuming that can be, and the effort that you have to put to go out there and get it, not ordering them online, but actually physically visiting a store and getting them, planning for that. You're also messing up other skills for yourself, your organizational skills, your hunter gathering skills. I look at it as they're dying down, but I also think that your own connection with yourself, to me, it started with my handwriting. And when I saw how my handwriting compared to other people's, I'm like, yeah, no matter how similar handwritings are, I can tell my handwriting apart any day. I have never seen a handwriting that I can be like, oh shit, that confused me, to a point that I can think it's mine. It is important. Don't give it up. And I think you are a smarter person if you have handwriting. I'm not saying that for those who don't have educational opportunities and your phone is making it possible for you to write somehow and communicate, we should take that away from you. Not at all. I'm just saying don't make it the norm. All of that is changing. And we're going back to a time when people were, I guess, marginalized in a sense, because that writing skill was missing. And I can also think about how we don't read as much anymore. Like, I personally don't read. I haven't read a book since like 2015, 2016. That is bad. I can feel how I'm declining mentally too, because I don't read like I used to. I'm kind of becoming too comfortable with the ideas I already have, and nothing is challenging me now. I feel that. I feel the consequences of that. The dumbing down of myself compared to how I was when I was in school as an adult, as opposed to continue to get better because of the skills that you obtained in school to learn. You're not exercising that like you used to. And it doesn't help that you're continuously in pain and fatigued, and sometimes you just don't find it appealing. But I feel like there's a correlation between people who can write and read regularly and how they fare intellectually versus those who don't, and how they fare intellectually. And I'll never forget those English classes when I was at my happiest, writing my life away, and my teachers were aware that I could write and I loved to write. And even if my writing content wasn't necessarily impressive, the sole fact that I had such a passion for writing, it meant a lot to them. And I said, whatever you can teach me about writing, I'm down. Teach me your ways. And then I discovered that writing is very liberating. You don't have to follow a specific format on your personal time. But I also understand why formats are important. Say in books, when you have a long citation, how you want to like have it all together and place it on the center of the page, and why sometimes you want to express something with bold, with italics, with highlights, all those little things, and we take them for granted. But out here in the real world, I try to encourage my managers to rewrite some documents and be like, underline this, highlight this, or this and that, because some people are not getting it. And maybe they're not getting it because the cues that we're accustomed to make things easy to digest, are not there anymore. Only someone who handwrites can point that shit out. Well, there you guys have it. That's it from me. Thank you so much for tuning in. How often do you go without writing? And how do you feel when you start writing again? Even if it's a shopping list, even if it's something simple, how do you feel when you see your handwriting be all sloppy, and once you recover it, does it do anything to you, or did you always avoid the exercise of writing? I personally am starting to feel really sad about how I have detached from writing, but as very close to me as within arm length, there is already something with my handwriting on it. This is an old ass notebook, but I like that I have it, because if I need to write something down immediately, I can just write it down immediately. But my primary notebook that I use for like my agenda purposes, say something like what I need to go out and buy and any random bill that I may need pending or need to plan for. That one I have downstairs. It's a bit more formal and cleaner than this one. You will never stop me from writing.